Alleged assassinations and death threats appear to be common in the Free State town of Vrede. That's according to state capture inquiry witness Ephraim Dlamini, who spent Wednesday testifying at the Zondo Commission. He says he won't be intimidated despite the threats. Dlamini says aggrieved Vrede Dairy Project beneficiaries reported the matter to the Hawks, who've done nothing to date.
There were people who would directly say to us, we must be killed. Whatever they are looking for, they won't get it. Though I'm not going to mention names, but others will utter those words directly, threaten us directly on our faces that we have to be killed. They said we must be killed because we are making the other people who are part of the project as well wiser. I don't know if I'm putting it right. Yeah, that's why we should be killed.
Aware of their rights.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are making them aware of their rights. That is why we should be killed.
In another commission of inquiry underway, former PIC CEO Dan Miceli is denying allegations he put pressure on his colleagues to go ahead with the AO Technology Solutions deal. The inquiry is probing the PIC's decision to ignore processes when making the 4.3 billion rand investment. The transaction has been one of the most controversial deals the inquiry has been investigating.
In all the years I served at the PIC, there has never been a moment where I have forced any of my colleagues to take a decision against their will. We discuss and debate matters in meetings or offices in a professional and frank manner. I subscribe fully to the PIC values, which I was instrumental in creating, and live by these values. This has made the PIC successful in delivery of its mandate. I categorically deny this allegation that I put pressure on my colleagues to do this deal.
NPA head Shamila Batoy is optimistic the prosecution's body will make a breakthrough in the fight against corruption. Speaking at the Kada Asmal Human Rights Lecture in Johannesburg, Batoy assured South Africans arrests will be made in corruption-related cases. She acknowledges that it's a slow process, but all those found in the wrong will eventually face the full might of the law.
Many people say to me, we want to see people in orange overalls. What they don't realize is that it will happen, but when we do it, we must make sure we get it right. Because those that are arrested, those that will be arrested, will certainly hire the most competent silks. Maybe your firm of attorneys might be also hired to defend them. People that will pay a lot of money to and make lots of lawyers very rich in fighting these cases. The strategy often is not to deal with the merits of the case, but to fight everything outside of that. Deal with the processes. You fight the processes, you fight the people, and you need to make sure that that is done to the T. And people also don't realize that it's not like the criminal justice system has been working so efficiently over the years that now that you have a new national director, the cases are just ready to take to court. You must understand that for years there was a deliberate attempt not to ensure that these cases were not investigated. There was nothing happening in these cases. And now that everyone's hearing about these things in all of the commissions, the public commissions, they think, why is the NPA not doing anything? When are people going to be arrested? People will be arrested. And I think people do want to also see that the wheels of justice are turning. And we recognize that more than anything, that we have to start, even if it means you start with certain lower levels, you're not going to go to the big fish immediately. And I'm not saying this is a strategy, but we need to show people that the wheels of justice are turning.
Government bailouts for Eskom are inevitable, so says one economist. The bailout for Eskom this financial year is 49 billion rand, increasing to 56 billion the next year. But government says conditions will be attached to this financial assistance. ENCA's John Bailey takes a look.
Experts say the current cost at which Eskom is producing electricity is more than what it's being paid. Government initially committed an allocation of 23 billion rand to Eskom over the next 3 years. But it now says the additional cash injection is necessary for the power utility to meet its financial obligations.
Until we figure out a way to get Eskom to cost-reflective levels, and it's a multifaceted process to achieve that. But the bottom line is, as things stand now, Eskom is simply not able to cover their costs on a year-to-year basis, whilst delivering us the electricity we need.
There's no certainty yet about the conditions that will be attached to the financial assistance. However, government says a chief reorganization officer will have to be appointed to oversee the restructuring of Eskom. This appointment, insiders say, will have to be transparent.
So you've had people that have been appointed that are not suitably qualified for roles. Garbage in, garbage out. To the extent that we appoint incompetence in these institutions, we are going to run them down fast.
Eskom is weighed down by a debt of over 440 billion rand. It's expected to report a loss of more than 20 billion rand next week when it reports its financial results. John Bailey, Pretoria.
Well, the power utility is not the only one being given a lifeline. A few other state-owned companies, including Denel, SAA and the SABC, are set to get a cash injection, according to Tito Mboweni.
SABC requests 3.2 billion rand. We will not just make that available tomorrow, to be a mistake, but we'll release in chunks as certain conditions precedent are met to make sure that there's progress in improving the organization. And similarly, as of tomorrow, would be announcing for each one of these entities the relevant chief restructuring officers who would work together with the management of these institutions to get the institutions back on track.
After the break, a new national spelling bee champ has been crowned, and he happens to be behind bars.